In the previous fundamentals video, we talked briefly about note values and duration as the foundation of rhythm. Duration alone can only provide so much information though. When we listen to music, we can sense an inherent sort of grouping of the notes. This is due to the meter. Meter tells us what sort of note we're going to feel as the beat, as well as how those notes are going to be grouped. Let's start by looking at one of the most familiar meters, 4/4. First of all, this is not a fraction. Is math involved in music? Sure, but for most people it doesn't need to go much past basic addition. The bottom number tells us what sort of note we're going to feel as the beat. Remember that when we talk about note values, we think in powers of 2, so the bottom number could be a 2, 4, 8, 16, etc., because it has to relate to a way of dividing something equally. Remember our pi? In this case, the 4 tells us we're dealing with a quarter note. The top number tells us how many of them are going to be in a group. In this case, it's 4. Whereas the bottom number has to be a power of 2 relating to note values, the top number can be anything. So in 4/4, we can expect 4 quarter notes in one measure. What's a measure? Simply a way of showing the groupings of the beat. We know that these beats are grouped in 4s, so we draw a vertical line to help our eye divide the groupings. This line is called a bar line, and the space between is the measure. Once the beat has been determined and grouped, you can do whatever you want to the notes in that measure so long as the math adds up. In a measure of 4/4, you can have 4 quarter notes, 2 half notes, 1 whole note, 8 eighth notes, or any combination as long as it still adds up to 4 quarter notes. Other meters can exist, of course, by varying the top and bottom numbers. If the top becomes a 3, then we will be grouping quarter notes in 3s. If it becomes a 6, we'll group them in 6s. The fun starts when we play with the bottom number. If instead of 4/4, we switch to 4/2, what will change? Instead of counting quarter notes as the beat, now we're told to count half notes. All the same rules apply, the math just changes a bit. Likewise, if the bottom number becomes 8, the math changes again. As a general rule, changing the bottom number will only affect the note value of the beat. As the number gets bigger, the note value gets smaller, but the grouping remains the same. Changing the top number does nothing to the note value of the beat, but changes how they are grouped. As the top number increases, the number of bar lines decreases because the groups are larger. So to recap, top number gets bigger, fewer bar lines. Bottom number gets bigger, note values get smaller. So far we've covered what is called simple meter. Stay tuned for the next video covering compound meter. See you next time.